Fooly Cooly is a vague memory to me. Before making this video, I've never seen a full episode of the show, just like bits and pieces, and all I remember is that the show is extremely weird. But like I stated in my last anime review, I'm currently in an anime binge, and I decided to give Fooly Cooly another chance, as iconic of an ending theme that was, it randomly popped in my head. And I feel like I unfairly judged this show because I woke up one night to the show as a little kid, and it was the episode where Haru gets a massage. And if you've seen that episode, you can probably guess why a 9-year-old kid found it weird. Nonetheless, Fooly Cooly is a show that originally aired in 2000, but its last 2 seasons aired in 2018. 2018. Despite being 3 seasons, there's only 18 episodes total, which is insane. I've never seen that before, and I don't think I'll ever see it again. Actually, I did. There's a Netflix anime that does the same thing. But hey, here I do my anime reviews my reviews a little different. I typically review one season, and then, in there, I do 1 to 3 episodes in the review. But since this show only has 18 episodes total, which that's a season for most shows, I'm gonna review the whole thing. But instead of talking about the entire season front, back, in and out, like I said earlier, I'm gonna choose 1 to 3 episodes, in this case 3 episodes, that best reflect my opinion on the show entirely and break them down. So yeah, there will be spoilers, but this show is legally allowed to drink, so do with that what you may. But I'm gonna take a quick ad break so you can decide whether you want to watch this or not. According to my ad time, according to my watch time, you don't. Anyways, when we get back, we will see if my opinion on this show has changed now that I am old enough to actually process it properly, and the answer might surprise you. See you in a sec. Welcome back, thank you for sticking around. I'm pretty sure most of y'all didn't. Today we're going to do things a little different, like I stated earlier, because the show takes an extremely odd approach to presenting itself. Like I said, 3 seasons, 6 episodes in each, so each season is pretty much an entirely new story that ends up leading back to the main plot. So I'm gonna be reviewing episode 5 from season 1, coincidentally episode 5 from season 2 in the series finale. So starting off with Fooly Cooly episode 5, the Brittle Bullet. Well, it's just called Brittle Bullet. So the episode starts with a heartwarming scene, but then per usual it takes a left turn and gets hilariously weird. And it's funny because while you're confused, Nyota breaks the fourth wall by saying,
"Do you find this difficult to understand?"
Well, yes, it is kind of hard to follow. So they explain why I'm just gonna call him Notakun. Notakun and Haru are in a war scenario. They're basically dueling for her love, except he doesn't really have a choice because his dad is jealous, and I don't blame him. That alien chick is kind of hot. Nonetheless, they fight while simultaneously being hunted. So fun fight montage later, Nyota gets hit by a vehicle, which happens a lot in this show, and surprisingly he didn't spawn a demon out of his forehead nipple. But anyways, this scene comes up, and remember it for later.
Yeah? So it's like you're the pilot, like a robot commander or something. Is that true? You're really the commander, Naota?
And Haru-san? Likes the pulp? I was watching.
That's only part of the scene. I can't play the entire thing, but it all makes sense soon. On the flip side, Haru is beating up Bushbrows when he tells us this.
That robot is too dangerous. If we don't take it out, Medical Mechanica will make its move. You understand, they're willing to activate the plant for that purpose, and you know what that'd do to this planet.
Now, Medical Mechanica is a huge iron in the middle of the city, and it's pretty much a reoccurring theme in every season throughout the show. But Haru isn't hearing none of this, so she starts beating ass. But then Nyota is feeling super confident after the events of last episode, and he decides to make a move on Mamimi. I think I said that right. It's been a week or so since I actually watched the show.
This is because of Haru-san.
She has nothing to do with this.
You like
How
Haru-san.
can I like someone who's insane?
How much do you like her?
I don't. What's the matter? I thought you liked me too. I know you do. Ugh.
It's really heartbreaking, you know. More on that later as we get an innuendo.
Small, as usual. Guess that's the best you can do, huh?
Alright, so after that, Haru pulls up in a scrumptious bunny maid outfit. Meanwhile, Mamimi is calling Takun's name, and this infuriates Naota, and he tells her.
Now listen, my name is Naota. Don't ever call me Takun again.
After this, we get some sweet visuals. The music and art of this show is amazing. I'll gloat over it later. But Kanti and Haru fight the finger monster. Okay, I didn't catch that until anyways, Naota fulfills his promise and he saves Haru from getting bodied. Then the episode ends with Naota being spit out of being spit out of Kanti. It's spell checked at the city, and the city has been saved. And Haru is standing on Naota, adoring Kanti, who's basically harnessing the power of Adamus. So, yeah, I mean, that pretty much, that whole picture, this picture here, kind of reflects the whole series. Naota does everything he can for, the two women that he loves in this little love triangle, but he ends up at the bottom of the barrel getting stood on and ignored, as Mamimi pretty much likes his brother and Haru is only using him for his powers, which that can be internalized a lot of ways. From my personal experience, I know how it feels to be the person being stepped on in this picture. So the next episode I'm going to review is season 2 episode 5, Fool on the Planet, which is actually a really good song by the band that did the music for this series, The Pillows. It starts with a different art style, super dark, grainy, and quiet. Here we have our main character, Hitomi. I really should rewatch these before reading these out. Anyway, she ends up running into the iron as everything has been destroyed. I don't get the meaning of this, but it gives you an idea of the main character if you haven't seen the show. Hitomi is a antisocial, pessimistic girl, heartbroken over her family troubles. Anyways, Haru is a teacher now, and she does a mix of brainwashing, teaching life lessons, and downright seducing her students, which, 2 out of 3 of these do happen in classrooms across America. I'll let you decide which is the 2 out of the 3. She does dead ass show Hitomi some so, she shows her some to see if she has emotions. But right now, her teaching isn't important as Homeboy, I forgot his name, so I'll call him Homeboy until later, goes to fight Haru, and she will leave, so she will leave his boo thing alone. Well, they're not really boo things yet. They're kind of crushing. Anyways, Haru's chubby now, but she's mixing his ass, and you should see it looping, the fight scene right now, and yeah, she finessing his ass. Nonetheless, it leads to this. Watching this back, I didn't realize Hitomi got some drip. That's actually close to the fit I'm rocking for Valentine's. Actually, I didn't get to rock that fit for Valentine's Day because my package got lost. Woo! Anyways, let's finish the clip.
What's going on?
Haru finesses Hitomi into killing her crush out of sheer jealousy. Anyways, Hitomi ends up pretty much how she started the season, depressed. And it gets worse.
You're closing it down? The cafe? Why? Why would you do that? I thought going to stay here and wait till Dad comes home.
We learned that in the morning, she learned that her mom has basically given up on the idea of her husband returning, Hidemi's dad coming back. On top of that, what's left of Ide's body floats off and Hidemi completely loses her shit, and I can't blame her. On a side note, I'ma call them the Secret Service, but they start attacking Medical Mechanica. And speaking of attacks, Hidemi starts attacking Haru, calling her out for being recklessly love-struck, and then the episode ends on a cliffhanger. And when we have one more episode to review, then I'll give my opinions on the show. I also forgot to elaborate on the fact that the reason why she was so butthurt about the shop being closed is that her mom told her that they will keep the shop open in hopes that, the dad will return. So her closing it, like I said, is them giving up on the fact that them basically acknowledging dad ain't coming home. He went out to get milk, never came home with milk. Well, yeah. Anyways, but speaking of cliffhangers, I'll see you after this.
Good night. Sleep tight, babe.
Welcome back. Alright, so now we have one more episode to review. The series finale. So here's a timestamp if you don't want to get spoiled, but this episode is nearly 4 years old and you made it this far, so I don't know why you would care. Now anyways, Fooly Cooly Alternative episode 6, the series finale, is named Full Flat. It started with a battle between Kanti and Haru. The battle was pretty fairly matched, but in the end, our lovely pink-haired mistress wins, but that's not really important as the hand comes from the sky and grabs Medical Mechanica, which, like I said earlier, is basically a big-ass iron that's gonna flatten Earth. Fast forward, this is Kana, the season's main protagonist. She basically just went through a breakup after finding out her best friend not only hates her, but finds her annoying, which I guess would be implied from her. Anyways, but she's leaving all of them behind. And if you think that's a little grim and that she must come back, to her childhood friends that spent the last 5 out of 6 episodes with her, well, so after being devastated by that, she shows maturity by going to watch her pretty much blast off. But I understand the feeling, when you lose someone important to you, sometimes you want things to go back to normal, back to what they used to be. You don't see her break down in this scene. That's because she pretty much got it out of her system already. Or so I thought, but Haru shows up in the wise words of Duke Dennis.
Man, shit ain't got serious, man.
Okay, that's not Duke Dennis. I had to use Lil Baby. I can't find the clip of him saying that. So it appears the world is gonna end, and it appears Akana along with Nyota, Hidemi, wherever the hell they are, just have to sit around and wait to get crushed by our wonderful, But our wonderful superwoman had a change of heart.
Holy crap, it's moving! So what's gonna happen now?
I'm not one for bad endings.
After this, Haru informs her the only way this can be stopped, you're the only one that can stop this, and she gets this life lesson of you can't stop things from changing. The best thing you can do is embrace things changing. Nonetheless, this leads to Kana fighting Medical Mechanica with her feelings, but this is not enough action for you, so our cherry blossom goddess herself 1v60s a bunch of Kantis. But it all comes down to this: as Kana sheds her fear of being judged, she prepares to vent with the iron bearing down on her. And the following is her crying over her life and the fact that her friend basically dumped her, but it has cool visuals, nice background music, and this. So the explosion not only gets rid of Medical Mechanica, the thing threatening Earth, but it gets rid of Haru, which effectively ends the series since she's the main character, or I don't know if to say main character. She's pretty much the reoccurring character, the catalyst to all 3 seasons, the catalyst to all 3 stories. So that's 3 seasons, 3 episodes in less than 12 minutes. So now we will end with my opinion. Fooly Cooly is such a polarizing show. It's so good and so bad at the same time. The story is really hard to follow. Most of the scenes are, I want to say random, but that kind of seems unfair. I want to say the scenes are kind of spontaneous. Like, they take an interesting approach that doesn't really help that issue. Like I said, 3 seasons, 18 episodes, which, giving the comparatively short runtime they give you, they actually give you a lot of story in there. The problem is each season is a new set of characters with completely different outlooks. You know, the only consistent variable in, well, that's kind of I don't know the word for it, where you say something that just they don't line up. The only constant in this series is Haru trying to get Adamus back and dragging innocent civilians into the crossfire. But that's where my criticism ends, as Fooly Cooly is a beautiful show. To me, Fooly Cooly is pretty much a series of animated music videos. It's very chill. It's a very chill show to watch. And while the show's story doesn't really connect well, personally, I feel the characters shine, you know, in this show. They're the bright spot of the whole show. Of the 3 seasons, the first season is my favorite, and Nyota is my favorite character. He's a kid pretty much caught in a love triangle, and his situation is pretty relatable for me. It was awesome to see him refuse to be someone else to earn his crush's affections, and it was also heartbreaking but refreshing and genuine to see him grow the balls to pursue his, you know, his lovers, but ultimately end up getting rejected by both of them. Now that sucks for him, you know, and it really kind of hurt to watch, but that's the truth. It's relatable. Not everyone miraculously gets the girl in the end, you know what I'm saying? As for Hidemi, learning that you can't just block out the world, eventually you're going to have to join the fray. I know I said this show doesn't really make sense, but you can argue that this show is pretty much just open for interpretation. I couldn't decide the basis of the show. Is medical mechanica a play on the smooth brain theory? If you don't have curves or bumps in your brain, you can't think. They even say it in one of the episodes where, you know, the irons are here to flatten out the world. If you flatten out your brain, you can't think, type of thing. Is it about, I don't know, is it about fighting the world, you know, making sure you're always thinking this, that, and the third? Or, you know, there's a huge emphasis on Haru and her love for Adamus and music and guitars. So is this a show about a love-struck girl fighting the world with her guitar, doing anything she can to get the man that she wants? I don't know. Like, there's a bunch of mini life lessons in here. There's a bunch of I don't know. The show is so open to interpretation. I really don't know how to embody it. You take so many things from it. There's really, I don't know. The show is a work of art, and I feel like this show wouldn't resonate with all anime fans, but casual viewers or people who like to see character development will love this show. I definitely recommend giving this a watch. I mean, the show is extremely short, especially for an anime that's not on Netflix, and despite it being all over the place, you still will feel an attachment to the characters. Like, I was actually sad to see it end. So that's pretty much my feelings on Fooly Cooly. I mean, originally I thought this was a weird pervy anime, but 10 to 15 years later, I gave this show a fair chance, and it actually impressed me. I feel like there were a lot of innuendos. Why did I say it like that? I feel like there was a lot of innuendos in this show that I just didn't catch or understand, but that didn't take away from my experience. This is probably going to be one of my longest reviews to date, but if you're one of the 15 people that will make it this far in the damn review, I greatly appreciate it. Appreciate you making it to the end. Let me know how you feel about Fooly Cooly. Which season was your favorite? If you've seen it, who's your favorite character? If you haven't seen it, would you consider watching it now that you've seen this video? Anyways, it is free on adultswim.com with ads. So anyways, yeah, Fooly Cooly, that was, I mean, it's just a beautiful show. Especially if you're open musically, if you like rock music, or if you just have a wide music taste, this is just pretty much a big ass it's such a vibey show. Like, some things, like I said earlier, they don't connect, they don't match up, but the characters, the way they're written, and this, that, and the third, it's just phenomenal. So this is already long enough. If there's anything else I need to elaborate on, I will do it in the comments if one of you comments. Yeah, so been here long enough. Remember, until we meet in the comments, envy no man, because we know we up next. Sponsored by Atari, and